Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is
Yuppify, to make appealing to yuppies, also to infuse with the qualities or values of yuppies. I haven't heard the term yuppie in like years. It's interesting. It definitely was something you heard a lot back then. And the younger folk might not even know it. I don't know. But what is a yuppie? A yuppie is a young, college-educated adult employed in a well-paying position or profession. And it's usually who works or lives in or near a large city. So, you know, somebody with a job where they have to wear a suit every day and they're young. That's generally it. You know, a young attorney or a young business person. Things like that. You know, someone right out of college and successful and has money. I mean, money is a key word here. So what I want to do today is go with my original template, which is from the beginning of my book. Somebody asked me if there was a template in doing this every day, and there was at one point. It's June 23rd, 1916. I am stuck in this yuppies. June 23rd, 2016 was the day that I started this notebook. I have many, but this one had a format when it started. It was, what's the word of the day? What are my initial thoughts? What mechanics do I think of from that? Which themes do I think of? And then final thoughts, where I summarize and might even go into something for later. And then after that, if I get an idea, I went to a pitch, and then I went into gameplay. I even said for fans of at the bottom. So I started to get this pattern going, and that sort of fell apart recently, where my notebook is just, it's a lot of the initial thoughts, but it's not structured like that. So I'm going to try to start structuring it like that again, because it was really, really helpful. And I hope it's good for this show in doing that too, and giving it some structure. So let's try it. So my initial thoughts on Yuppify, and this one I'm going out from the gate that this is difficult because it's just I don't know, everything's been difficult this week. It's a difficult week. So, but my initial thoughts are a city builder that's not building a city as much as building the surroundings. You want to yuppify the city, so you have to build colleges on the outskirts and create high-paying jobs. So it's not so much about the city, building the city. It's building the things that are going to bring people to that city. I also wrote young people with money, which is just an initial thought. The demise of a lower class, or the destruction or the diminishing or whatever of the lower class, like just and then I wrote overpriced items, selling things for more than they're worth, which is neat. So mechanics, I wrote bidding. Bidding seems appropriate for yuppifying, is where the high bidder is a status symbol. Not only do you get the item that you're bidding for, but you're getting the fame and notoriety of being the high bidder. Donations is another thing. If there's some form of donating, like the game Livingstone, you have to donate money to the queen, and whoever donates the least amount of money to the queen at the end of the game loses, no matter what position they were in. And it's secret donations. I wrote the opposite of hidden agendas. So just open agenda. It's just like goal cards, but just not secret goals. Achievements, rewards, things like that. Single pips on a die, meaning single people. Because I think of yuppies as mostly dating or newlyweds, if if even that, they're just so focused on business that a family is not there yet. I don't know if that's true, but I assume if you're making money, you can't also have a family, because that's hard. And the other side of that is, by the time you have kids, you've aged out of the yuppiedom, I wrote, which sounds like a name of a city or a kingdom, the yuppiedom. And the last thing I wrote on my mechanic side was having dual tracks and managing them in some way. One is your aging, which is not good. And I don't know if that's the best bad for being a yuppie. But it is, because the reason I wrote it is aging, because there's somebody younger and newer and fresher, and it's the cult of the new and things like that, where you're starting to you're not showing that promise that somebody just out of college is showing. And the other part is money. So the dual tracks are aging and money, and the higher you go on the money scale, the better. The more you age, the worse. The difference between them two is probably the absolute worst. You can't slow down the aging, but the more money you get, the sooner you're going to be dropped from a position, for example. So you're aging out of your price bracket or whatever, something along those lines. So those were the mechanics or mechanic-related words that I wrote. They're not all actually mechanics. Themes. I wrote a world that is all business. And what I mean by that is just, it's a fantasy setting of this just no fun business. This is coming from somebody who left an office job earlier this week. But just, it's pure business. And I had a thought on this one time about just this world where advertising was not allowed in any way, which was like, has nothing to do with this, but it just made me think of it. It's kind of like that Idiocracy, 500 years in the future, and advertising was proven to just be, I don't know, terrible, the devil. It was just, it was phased out of existence for whatever reason. So businesses would have, and I thought this was really interesting, it's almost like a dystopian thing, but businesses don't have any signs. You cannot have a sign on your business, and you cannot have anything in the front windows. You just have to have a door that says a business is here. Then people would have to come in and talk to you and see what you have and learn about it. There's some like deeper root things in there that I'm very anti advertising for my own company. Not anti-advertising, but just there's levels I don't like to stoop to, and I like to just let things happen naturally and things like that, which is the complete opposite of everything that I think is successful and business-like. But anyway, a world that is all business. The second one is the modern workplace in the early 80s. So a setting of that where it's just obviously just like a law firm or something along those lines, and working your way up. That not that great, not that fun. Material possessions, the game, whatever that is. But it's all about just showing off your items. Certain items can be seen from further away, so that's like almost like a status symbol. Certain items mean things to people that are close to you. So there's all these just ways that you can collect sets of things that all serve different purposes. So it would definitely be a set collection game, because that's the whole idea of material possessions. And the further they reach, and the more money they cost, and the more value that they retain, and the more sentimental they are to the people that are important to you, the more points you're going to get. And those numbers can fluctuate, which is cool. Like a set collection game where the city has a reach, or your town or your little neighborhood where you live can grow, and people are populating certain areas. But if you have items that those people can see, and it creates your status symbol, I think that's a neat sort of a twist on set collection. And then finally I end with a pitch, because that's what I did on the last ones. And my pitch, it usually would just be whatever I thought was the best here. But here I went just completely different. And I just had this idea like halfway through this where instead of in like a role-playing game setting, like my favorite part of a role-playing game is character creation. I don't love, following through on my character. I like little short session role-playing games. I don't play a lot of them, but I like ones that are just, bam, we have our characters, which is great. That's the best part. We do the essence of the characters more than the essence of the story. That's the kind of the thing that I like about role-playing games. But I wanted to have something along those lines where you're, instead of building a character, you're building a business. So this is a city, it's, let's say, just like New York or something in 1983. Every player is an entrepreneur, and they're creating businesses, or a business. You can only have one business at a time, unless it gets successful and you sell it off and you get more. But you're creating a business to lure in the rich folk. You have to get creative because they have more money than you. You don't have a lot of money. So you're using whatever you can find for low money. A street performer, artists. If it's New York in the early 80s, there were gangs everywhere. So you could be using those to their strengths to create these new fads that the yuppies are going to, fawn over, and in turn make everybody else rich, the people that weren't rich. But I mean, that's all just kind of setting. But what I thought was, instead of building a character, you're doing a same character creation where you're, rolling dice for stats and purchasing items and all that stuff, and just building this business. And then you play out that business almost like a character in some sort of role-playing game. I have no idea if there's anything like that. I lean on like Tim Rodriguez or Jay Treat or someone to see if there's something like that where you're building a physical thing instead of a character, and then playing through the life of that physical thing. But that's it. You take on the role of that business. Instead of a battle, you're trying to make sales, and there's some sort of whatever. Combat resolution is really just sales pitch resolution and stuff like that. So that's where I got with it. I had a couple ideas there. I think my favorite one is Material Possessions, the game. That's the one I'm most likely to kind of lean on later. Just because of how set collecting and sets being worth more money or more points based on their reach, I think that's fun. All right, cool. End of the week. We're back here over the weekend with Robin Gibson to hear his thoughts on 2 different words. And we're back next week with a whole bunch of other words, and we're on Board Game Geek and all those other places. It's been a good week. We got a lot of people chiming in with their thoughts, people sending me images and stuff, and I just got to find the best place to start sharing them. But keep it up because it's super inspiring. It's awesome, and it goes both ways. So thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.